My name is Hudson, and I either have the honor or the distinct challenge of winding up this conversation.
No, you don't. No, you don't. The Touch by an Angel crowd is coming next.
Oh, great.
You're not.
You get to swoop in and bless the whole thing. Well, speaking of blessing, if you've listened so far to everything that you've heard and are not yet inspired, you may need medical attention. There have been so many stories, and if something has fluttered within your heart or your mind and you are inspired, which actually from the Latin root means you are in the spirit. So if something in your spirit is stirring and you're hearing it, now would be a good time to listen. But my particular story, I started Hudson, Inc., which focuses on the in-home contractor service world. Started that in April of 2001. And at the time, I'd left a fine enough job. I had a low six-figure income, and I had two small children. But quite honestly, I just felt unfulfilled. Something was calling me to do something differently. But I didn't really have any other options at the time. But I left that job with some inspiration from some material that I'd heard Dan speak at a town in my state. Again, the very last speaker of the day, and I hung around primarily for that. I'd purchased magnetic marketing, and I had used that as really kind of the seed and the beginning of what I had done in my previous job. But when I left that job, all I knew was I was going to do something in information marketing. The stock market was tumbling. My very first speaking engagement, which was an honor to even get, it was 3 days before 9/11, literally 3 days before the attacks.
By the way, that's better than 3 days after 9/11, which is when I had a speaking engagement. So.
So I had a full 3 days of speaking career to my eternal credit before it basically went away. It just evaporated. But, I had no customers, no employees, but I had a very healthy dose of the Dan Kennedy training. I wanted to get a product. I had a pretty clear vision of what I wanted to do. And honestly, those other obstacles were greatly minimized because I was listening to other people who had overcome far greater obstacles than that. So armed with that, I had a lot of determination, and again, partly due to the Dan mantra of, quote, creating your own market, we were able to seize and break into a customer retention newsletter service, which we were publishing and just getting off the ground. And it was an extremely unpopular idea at the time to even have a paper and ink newsletter for my particular niche. But undaunted, we went forward and got a pretty good break. We made a profit that very first year, paid all the bills, a little extra, felt I was on to something. And after adopting more of the Kennedy model, we created a information product from that, and we hit a very, very hungry and highly receptive market, and that worked well. Soon after that, with some momentum built, we offered a higher price version, and after that, a membership. And what you're hearing here are really the seeds and the patterns by which a lot of the processes, procedures, and the models of the Dan Kennedy approach to marketing just taken to my particular niche. And it was nothing too earth-shattering. It didn't take a tremendous amount of brain power to do it, other than I was really stricken with my particular gift, if that's what it was, of copywriting and being mildly persuasive in print. And that was a wonderful thing. And so that was my first year was pretty difficult. By year 3, the newsletter service was doing over 1 million pieces. We had information products that spawned other products. Then an unimaginable to me $1 million plus in sales. We had a great, competent staff of 5 people. We'd renovated and moved into a new to us 100-year-old building, which was another dream of mine. I have a bit of a historic building sickness going on. So that's, you can start this kind of as fast as you want and go at your pace. And then you add another 5 years to that. We've purchased and are renovating yet another building, as mentioned, that problem I have. We've got 11 employees. We have double the volume. We have excellent net profits. And it's allowed a very comfortable lifestyle. As you've heard through other people talking, it's really the part of it. Yeah, it's the money is the initial attraction and the lure, because that's the fuel to the freedom that we all hope to get. And that freedom and recreation, the time you get to spend with your family and with your children, your hobbies, your recreation, that's really the reward of this, because you're helping other people by getting there. Money is only the fuel, and it's the fuel in the car has nothing to do with the importance of the vacation or the trip, but it is nonetheless really the impetus to it. So a couple of years rock on, we were fortunate enough to enter the National Sales Letter contest that Dan had sponsored, and lo and behold, I won an automobile for that. And much to my then teenage children's great chagrin, I turned down the car in favor of more education. And though they were ready to leave the house at that moment that I did that, the truth is I had enough automobiles and still do to my wife's estimation. But the truth is it was an object lesson that investing in education and training is far more valuable. If that car were still in the garage, even undriven, it would have depreciated to about half of its initial value, where in truth the money invested back with Dan and in the training has multiplied itself in value. And that's a lesson I think you've probably heard in common here today. To wrap this up, it's all the result of a compounding effort, building one product on top of another, a strategy on top of another. It's comfortable, it's reasonable, it's a logical path of Kennedy-style marketing ascension, which I have to point out is probably not logical to the 90 or 95% of the people who don't quite get it yet. The rewards of this change thinking and being surrounded by other people, the incredibly bright, inspiring people that you've heard so far, that is really to what has become normal and reasonable to me is being around wonderful people who are just looking for the next level of ascent. And it is honestly, it's transformed my business. And I can truthfully say that it's transformed my life as I knew it. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thank you. Because people can only hear us, they can't see us. One of the things they can't see going on, they can't hear, is people taking notes while other people are talking. Almost everybody's dissertation has sparked somebody in the room to jot something down that they found was worthwhile, and hopefully everybody listening has done the same.